Alright, peace, Sandra. I hope all is well. And yeah, this is going to be me extending my insight into the natal chart for you to cover especially your life purpose, you feel me, and help you kind of find some direction and some more like guidance, you feel me, in regards to what your greatest purpose is at this moment and just in this lifetime in general. Alright, so within this reading, we are going to be looking into both your north node, your midheaven, the planet Jupiter, and the planet Venus. The midheaven, we will begin there, is a point in the celestial equator, right? Or, yeah, in the sky, you feel me? That signifies when the sun or when any other planet is at its highest elevation. You feel what I'm saying? So it's a very elevated house, and it kind of very much is associated with one's purpose, you feel me, one's like abilities and innate qualities. But from the perspective of these are the things that this individual kind of naturally fits into, you feel me, in regards to how they can service humanity and how they acquire recognition, for the things that they do. It's a house that's also associated with like reputation, credibility. It also deals with like one's career life, things like that. So it's a good place to start looking, you feel me, when highlighting one's purpose. Then also the north node, the north node, in correlation to the south node, have opposing energies, right? So, for example, you have your north node in, yes, as I was saying, you have your north node in the sign Libra, you feel me? And so, with you having your north node within the sign Libra, the opposing energy to Libra is Aries. So this indicates that your south node is in Aries. Now, Libra is a sign that's associated with the planet of Venus, right? Venus is the planet that deals with relationships of all sorts, not just intimate, romantic, you feel me? It can deal with business relationships, friendly relationships, but just ultimately relationships where it's not fluffy, I guess we can say. It's not fluff in the sense that there are interconnections between you and the individual. You feel what I'm saying? Because when we deal with relations, like sometimes you may have a relation with someone, but it may be strictly business or things like that. But whatchamacallit, Libra more so deals with like interweaving and interconnecting with that individual you're relating with. You feel what I'm saying? And we'll get deeper into this. Now, well, let's do it right now, right? Let's do it right now. So, with your North Node being in Libra, right? And as I've explained briefly, the North Node, it signifies the soul's, like, destiny, in a sense. It signifies, like, the soul's path of growth, you feel me? This is where you must tap into, where you must go in order for you to grow. These are energies that may, in a sense, somewhat feel to be uncomfortable, but nevertheless, they're energies that need to be like embraced. You feel what I'm saying? And so this is the Libra energy, and Libra is like all about relationships and learning how to find your own unique or your own independence or individuality within relationships. So Libra is the sign of balance, you feel me? And it primarily deals with balance when it comes to partnerships and relationships and things like that. And so for starters, I do want to bring up this. For you in this lifetime, learning how to relate with others and learning how to get out of your skin. And when I say get out of your skin, I mean in the sense that you may be more independent, more individualistic, and kind of more um, very persistent. You feel me? And I'm not saying persistent is in a bad way, but how I mean by persistent is kind of like going against the grain rather than meeting. It's an energy of being being very individualistic. You feel me? And sometimes when you're an individual, you can kind of be a radical or like rebellious type energy. And so yeah, that's that energy that like in this lifetime you're kind of here to learn to balance and centralize. You feel what I'm saying? And so with Libra, Libra is a sign that deals with the union of two polarizing forces, right? So on one end, for example, when it comes to Libra's time or season, Libra is found within September. You feel me? And or something like late September, like September 23rd till like October 23rd. You feel what I'm saying? Around that time, 22nd was October 22nd, more like. So between this time, right, this is when Libra season unfolds. But simultaneously, we also gain the recognition that within this unfoldment of the Libra season, we also see a kind of blending of two opposing energies. For example, from September to October, there is an experience of days going from being long as a result of summer and like the summer solstice to days starting to shorten as we approach like the winter solstice. You feel what I'm saying? And so with that being said, Libra is a sign that very much deals with the unification of dualities. You feel what I'm saying? The unification and the finding of equilibrium. And because it's an air sign, and all air signs deal with associationships, it does indicate that there needs to be a learning how to balance when it comes to how you relate with others. You feel what I'm saying? And how you engage and interact with others and how you build meaningful relationships with others as well. You feel me? And so let me talk a little bit also about the Aries energy to kind of give more perspective on this, because while your North Node is in Libra, automatically your South Node would be in Aries. Now, the South Node signifies like polarities, right? Polar opposite energy. And it signifies where you're coming from. So these are things that you are in a sense already comfortable with. These are things that are entangled within your soul that you've in a sense already have mastered, and thus like there is no growth in that. You feel what I'm saying? And where there is growth is in that North Node energy, that relationship energy, that the energy of kind of learning to be more interconnected with others, and in a sense learning to be more like cooperative, and I even want to use the word to an extent dependent, right? And so not codependent, but what I guess more so what I'm trying to hint here is that independence is very valuable, of course, but there is, and this is with everything, right? Everything in moderation. So there is an extent of independence where it becomes somewhat isolating. You feel what I'm saying? And where it becomes like you're kind of building like barriers and blocks for people to come in, and it kind of makes it more difficult for people to connect with you because you're so independent, and you kind of have this energy about you that kind of feels like you kind of have to be in like this protective energy, and so kind of pushing people away before they even get the chance of opening up to you. And it's because whereas Libra is an energy that more deals with harmony, it deals with balance, It's very Venetian. It can deal with like the path of least resistance. It can deal with progressing, through relations, through connecting with others and building meaningful relationships. Aries is more so a sign that's associated with the planet Mars, and Aries more so deals with strife. You feel what I'm saying? And more so is it's the first sign, which gives us insight into the fact that Aries more so deals with the I, the me, right? It's like the ego energy, and it's very independent, and it kind of feels like it's me against the world, right? And I have to build myself. I have to develop myself. I have to increase my charisma. I have to increase my self-worth and my self-value in a sense so that I can have an upper on others. You feel what I'm saying? Aries is a very competitive energy. And so these are all energies, right? Because it's your south node that in a sense you have already come to master, right? That you're very used to, right? Being an individual, right? Being very independent, like very strong as well, not afraid to go against like the strife and experience hardship and trials and tribulation, and almost feeling like without the hardships and without overcoming the obstacles, life isn't as complete as it can be. Like these are energies that are already familiar to you. And so where expansion needs to happen is in learning how to expose more of yourself, more of your soul to others, you feel what I'm saying? In the sense of learning how, and when I say your soul, like just yourself, like just who you are, and be learning to be more open and more receptive to relationships with other people, you feel what I'm saying? Rather than being like very isolated and alone, making efforts, making strives to ensure that you put yourself in positions, right, where, for example, you go out, because Libras is a very social energy, right, and it's ruled by a social planet, Venus, where you go out in social settings, where you know that people who are like you are out there, you feel what I'm saying, and you make the effort to to expand your like social circle and learn to get more people around you. You feel what I'm saying? Rather than being alone, learning to kind of be more social. And of course, because it's your north node, like this can be very uncomfortable. You feel me? But like in this lifetime, it is very much an energy of learning how to get out of being alone and solo, and learning how to be more engage with other people. You feel what I'm saying? Like being a lone wolf, going through things, overcoming challenges and obstacles. As I've already said, these are things that are already that you in a sense already have come to master. They're somewhat easy. Right? What is hard is easy. What I guess we can say, instead of saying what is hard is easy, is what is hard is comfortable with Aries energy, because Aries is about strife, and it's about striving, right? Strife and striving towards something greater and better. Meanwhile, Libra, it's somewhat more of a compromising energy, we will say, if what I'm saying. And when I say compromising, I mean compromising for the sake of peace and balance and harmony, and learning to be content with the things in life that in a sense bring to you balance and harmony, rather than going towards the channels of Aries, which is going beyond just comfort and balance and security. You feel what I'm saying? Where it's like going towards domination ultimately and becoming like number one. But within this, with this Libra energy, hold on, I need hold on, I'm going to look. more into your chart before I continue. Yeah, so as I was saying, with the Libra energy, it's kind of more about um like learning to like put yourself in a position where you're like a supporting factor rather than rather than the star. It's kind of like Aries is the star, right? As I keep bringing up, it's like no, the first sign. It's number one, very competitive. It likes to shine. You feel what I'm saying? In this lifetime, it's kind of like you making space and being a supporting factor in a supporting role for helping another person to shine. You feel what I'm saying? And so ultimately, the way that this plays out is like it is about learning to make friendships that are meaningful, but simultaneously, it's about learning how to be an individual within those friendships as well. Like, it's not completely compromising and jeopardizing who you are as a person, but it's about learning how to coexist with others and simultaneously bring your energy and your character to the table without feeling like without them feeling like you're so powerful. And the way I'm about to articulate this, like, I'm not trying to say that you should decrease your power, but what I mean is like outshining other people for what I'm saying. Like, in this lifetime, rather than trying to outshine other people, more so be a supporting role before I'm saying. Help people find equilibrium and balance within their own life, um, as you also strive to find equilibrium and balance within your own life. And so as a woman, right, like with you having like the Venus, Aries, and Mars and Aries, it does highlight and indicate well, not, yeah, Mars and Venus, Aries. It does highlight and indicate a very like masculine energy, a very I want to dominate energy. Like I want to be, and I was talking about the 10th house in the beginning, right? The 10th house, because that's where you have your Aries energy in, as well. Like most of your, like the cusp, like the beginning of your 10th house is in Pisces. So overall, the Pisces energy rules your 10th house. But then there are traces of Aries energy as well. And the planet, Mars and Mercury, coincidentally seem to be within that Aries energy that's also present within the 10th house. And so Aries in the 10th house, this is very much an energy where it's like having a desire to want to gain reputation and recognition and like credit and even honor for like who you are as a person. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, like okay, like the key word that can break down and explain Aries is egotism, right? It's the ego. Like that's what Aries is. And a lot of people say that the ego is bad, and I don't subscribe to that narrative. Like the ego is not negative, it's not bad, but everything in moderation, right? As it has been said already. But also, Aries is a very intense energy. You feel what I'm saying? So there can be like this easy or even unconscious energy of kind of making people feel uncomfortable because because you have like too much individuality and too much you-ness. Like there can be too much of a self-centering type of energy here. And what it's about is learning to balance it out by learning how to become better, not as an individual, but within relationships. You feel what I'm saying? Like with your moon being in Libra, you are a person who you really would benefit more from being in a relationship rather than being alone and by yourself. And before that can happen, if what I'm saying, with you having like your sun in the 10th house in Gemini, it indicates an energy where it's like you kind of are, you may have a crazy background story, right? Where like a lot of things may have happened to you that generated certain sorrows and certain disappointments, just certain baggages that you may to this day find yourself carrying. And there is a needing to learn how to heal and learn how to release that energy. You feel what I'm saying? Before you can truly connect with others. Ultimately, the 12th house is a house of the unconscious mind, as we've talked about previously in the first reading, right? And so it's an indication of you needing to learn how to become a master of unconscious energies. And like the book Psycho Cybernetics is a very good channel into that. So it's by Maxwell, you know, Psycho Cybernetics, and it's on YouTube because it's such an old book. It kind of belongs to the public domain, so you can access it for free on YouTube for sure, for sure. But then look into Maxwell's book on Psycho Cybernetics, but also look onto Bob Proctor if you aren't aware of his work. Um, and then also definitely get into what's his name, Joe Dispenza's work. You feel what I'm saying? Joe Dispenza, because you have like this mystical energy about you with you having that sun in the 12th house, right? You're very mystical and you're very spiritual, and it's like that energy may have been suppressed due to having had experiences where like um maybe you may have felt like you were completely misunderstood, so you started to act in ways to kind of become a little bit more understood. But it's kind of a energy where it's like rather than understanding you're not of this world and going with the flow and learning to adapt and having access to why you're here even though you're not of this world, you kind of started to adapt to the world and become more of the world rather than just being in it. And the process of becoming of the world kind of got you feeling a little bit lost. And um yeah, I'll leave it at that. You feel me? A little bit lost and confused. And so it is of paramount importance for you to learn to reconnect back with your roots, if what I'm saying. And when I say roots, I mean like your spiritual um beginnings, you feel me? In the sense that you are a soul having a human experience. Like that's the whole reason why like astrology can even work, you feel what I'm saying? Because before you incarnated into this lifetime, you had a specific energy, right? A specific um, collection of consciousness that was portrayed within the skies at the time when you incarnated. Because like we literally do go from higher realms into lower realms, and it's kind of like a configuration, you feel what I'm saying? And it's like if your soul's energy doesn't configure with like this world's energy, then like you won't be able to come through successfully. And the odds of like miscarriage and things like that would have been very high. And like conception in of itself probably wouldn't have, not have been possible. But like that's why like we as souls in of ourselves, we kind of it's like everything is set perfectly. Like we attract to ourselves the perfect time with the perfect person to raise us, all these like the perfect circumstance and condition. And it's not because it's by random, but it's because it's by design according to our own unique energy. You feel what I'm saying? And so we descended into this realm from the stars essentially, or the astral plane, which is astral is another word for star, um, to incarnate into this world. But it's like we always have to be mindful that our origin is spiritual, not physical. You feel what I'm saying? We're here physically temporarily. Now, yeah, with that being said, it's of essential importance for you to um, get back into that energy of your roots, which is really within you, which is really closing your eyes and getting into meditation. But meditation is not enough. Learning techniques and learning skill sets that deal with holistic healing will, in a sense, also benefit in helping you find balance. And so, I guess I also want to say this, like, Libra, alongside dealing with balance within relationships and learning how to be more intimate and more connected with other people, um, and not even like just closer. You know what I'm saying? It also is an energy that deals with like balance and equilibrium universally. You feel me? So, for starters, I want to mention that the sign Libra, it's the seventh sign. So, because it's the seventh sign, it kind of does have like a resonance or a harmony for the number seven, but also because it's like the seventh sign, right? And there's 12 signs within the zodiac. Libra is like the second half of the sky. You feel what I'm saying? Like from Aries to Virgo is the first half, and then from Libra to Pisces is the second half. And so, with that being said, like when you think about the number seven, right? It's kind of like a number one, right? Like the number seven and the number one look very similar. That's because um, the Libra energy very much is a symbol of completion and also new beginning. So seven, right? The seven colors of the sky, the seven notes in music, right? All these things are synchronized systems. You feel what I'm saying? That uphold like nature, like a system in nature. You feel me? We have like the seven hermetic principles, for example. That's a whole system in nature, of nature, right? That governs certain forces. We have like the seven spectrum of light, right? And that's a whole like system of nature. And then we have like the seven spectrum of sound, And so what it is it's like, thus Libra is a sign that deals with balance and harmony, but simultaneously it's like that energy has been placed, and now as a moon in Libra, but also as a north node in Libra, it is up to you to, in a sense, activate those seven energies within yourself. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about the chakras, for example, there are seven chakras, right? We talk about the planets, there are seven planets. And so, talking about balance and harmony, you know what I'm saying? Let me bring this into also perspective for you. So, I feel like the best exercise for you to pursue and gain understanding and learning from is like this formula for mental alchemy. You feel me? And I'm gonna briefly present it, and if you're interested, then later we can work more in it. And this will be more personal. This will be more personal. Like we'll be talking on the phone and everything while we do this. But so anyways, within mental alchemy, there are essentially seven desires or seven dynamics that we humans need to learn to develop. The first one is self-significance, right? And this deals with confidence, self-empowerment, you feel me? Yeah, very much learning to make sure that you have a healthy ego. Now, of course, there is extremes in becoming overly too egotistical, and there are extremes even in like having such a huge ego that you may feel like it's divine purpose, but it's really your ego. So like with that, we need to be cautious and careful of. But ultimately, every single individual was birthed into this reality with a unique purpose, right? We are all significant in our own ways. You feel what I'm saying? And ultimately, like the universe is not random. You feel me? Nothing is random, and everything happens for a reason. and there's a purpose behind everything happening. And that's because there's a larger, like, we can say, purpose, right? A larger plan. And we are all puzzles, pieces of puzzles that are meant to fit into that, you know? And so it's important for you to learn to get in contact with that energy for yourself and learn to understand that you are a unique individual and you have purpose. And so, with your North Node being in Libra, it's geared towards helping other people, teaming up with other people, and kind of not being by yourself, but kind of being like um, a in a symbiotic relationship. You feel what I'm saying? And opening yourself up more to connecting with others and building meaningful relationships. Like, I haven't talked about how you also have your North Node in the fourth house. The fourth house is the house that deals with family. It deals with the home. It deals with like companionship within the home. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the 10th house deals with the career life. It deals with reputation. As a musician, right? It deals with like breaking records, like selling hella records and going platinum, right? That's like the 10th house energy. It's very ego driven and like, yeah, I want more, I want more, I want to be the greatest. And that energy is beautiful and good and dandy. But the thing is, with that energy is in a sense, you've already like fulfilled that. You feel what I'm saying? Like that energy has already, like that, like, and that's coming from a past life energy. That's why becoming like a musician, like a superstar, and things like that may have felt very natural to you because they're kind of things you already are masterful at. Like they're things you're already good at. And within this lifetime, it's important in learning inner relationships. You feel what I'm saying? Like developing and building personal relationships and getting into that messy energy of uncertainty when you're with another person. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's the fourth house. So with it being the fourth house, right? Whereas the 10th house deals with the public and like the career and like public recognition, the fourth house is more of a private house that deals with the home life. It deals with the companion of the home. You feel me? And so this indicates that within this lifetime, you're more so meant to not live such a fast rock and roll life, speaking in Aries energy terms, but you're more so meant to, in this lifetime, live a more slow and balanced life, where there is equilibrium or there is like a family union, you feel what I'm saying? And of course, within this modern day, right, like the family unit has been attacked, and like that's not really common, and it's not really prevalent like that. You feel me? So, of course, that is gonna for you present more obstacles and more challenges, but like that ultimately is where it's at and what it is you're meant to do. And so I also want to say this. You have like, so with your North Node being in Libra, it indicates that Venus has a rulership over your North Node. Yeah, so my camera died, so I had to step away real quick and charge it. But earlier, as I was saying, right, I was highlighting how like you have Mars and Venus in the sign Aries, which is a rather, and we talked about how the nature of Aries, right? And we talked about how it's pretty masculine and assertive, So when Mars is in Aries, it's a good thing. It produces an individual who is very driven, very ambitious, right? Who doesn't think small, or when I say think small, a better way to phrase it is when they go about taking actions, right? Like the actions they take are pretty robust and big. You feel me? They're like the go-getters, if you know what I'm saying. Type energy. The like Mars and Aries, these are like to an extent daredevils, you feel what I'm saying? Like they go after what it is that they want, and in a sense they're not really afraid to do whatever it is they need to do to get there. Right? They're very willing. Also with the Mars and Aries energy, this is like these are individuals who are very energetic, right? So there is a tremendous amount of energy associated with you, and it's of importance you learn channels to express that energy. Hold on, let me pull up your chart as well as I'm talking. Yeah, but for the most part though, because it's in the 10th house, like naturally you are going to be pretty driven and pretty motivated towards um like your career and having status and having honor, you feel what I'm saying? Like that being a major motivation for you, like making sure that you're put in a position where you can be recognized and seen. But it's like, as I was saying earlier, that's all like South Node energy. Because with your South Node being in Aries, every Aries energy, in a sense, is very much entangled with the South Node. And so, essentially, as I've brought up earlier, right, like the 10th house versus the 4th house, like the 10th house is like outside of the house, outside of the home life, you feel me? And it's like, it's kind of more like fatherly type energy, you feel what I'm saying? Because the father is the one who goes out and like, make sure that everything is good. But then the 4th house energy is more like motherly energy. It's more about like staying in the home and kind of building a home, you feel me, sort of energy. And so within your chart, it shows that, well, first and foremost, with your North Node being in Libra, balance and equilibrium is called for. And then within your chart, there is this imbalance between like what your inner needs are, because with your moon, right, being in the sign Libra, it indicates that there is a deeper yearning and desire on your behalf to want like emotional connections with other people, and like in a sense even to want to have like a family life and have like bring balance to that as well. Because see, the thing about the moon is it deals a lot with fluctuation, you feel what I'm saying? It deals a lot with fluctuation. And so the moon does deal with the home, so this may be an indication of like your home life being somewhat having had experienced many forms of fluxes, and flux, right, meaning to go back and forth, you feel what I'm saying? And so that may be one of the places where you may need to find balance in, and where you may need to hone in on and balance. And it's kind of an energy where it's like focusing less on one's career path and one's status and recognition, and honing in more on, how do I put this, more on one's home life, you feel me? Things like building a family, having that family unit type energy. So in this lifetime, you're here to learn how to be more emotionally vulnerable, you feel me? Learn how to make emotional connections with others and build a family. But furthermore, also learn how to be like a good friend, a good lover, a good partner, things like that. Very Libra energy, you feel me? So those are things you should most definitely focus on. Building home energy, home life energy, but also being a good partner, you feel me? And so the current that you're fighting against is like that Aries energy of you being highly motivational, like motivationally driven, you feel me? And wanting to, in a sense, exert yourself and exert your power in your environment. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that the 10th house deals with. It deals especially with the environment where you gain recognition and attention from. You feel me? And kind of wanting to, like, instead of doing that, kind of learning how to slow down and be more in your yin energy rather than your yang energy. You feel what I'm saying? Mars is like a planet that deals with like energy. It deals with, like, in the body it rules the muscles. It's all about motion, like locomotion. You feel what I'm saying? But Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is a more calm planet that deals with the path of least resistance. You feel me? Like within the body, like Venus rules like the Venus system, so like the veins, you're right, the Venus system. And so the thing about the veins is like they're very passive, you feel what I'm saying, in the sense that blood goes through the veins, but it's our arteries that actually, in a sense, propel the blood, but like the veins kind of give way to the arterial pressure. You feel me? And so that's what like the Venetian energy is more like. It's more about learning to be more in your yang, being more receptive, and more like allowing yourself to go with the flow, rather than Mars, which is all about like the muscle. You feel what I'm saying? And like pushing forward. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that for you, because I think you get the image I'm trying to paint here. Now, to get more into this, let's talk about your 10th house, your MC, right? We've talked a great deal about well, actually, before I talk about your MC, I want to touch a little bit more about the things within your birth chart, like the planets within your birth chart. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so Mars is like, when Mars is in Aries, it's good. It makes you naturally like hungry. You feel what I'm saying when I say hungry? Like, people that have like that inner roar, that like desire to want to dominate and to take over. You feel what I'm saying? And it does make you, well, very self-driven and very self-motivated, a very ambitious person. You feel what I'm saying? A person who has tremendous amounts of belief when it comes to, if I put my mind on it, I can do it. You feel what I'm saying? But like I said, Mars is like the muscle behind the movement. You feel what I'm saying? So like with Mars being here, you have a lot of fuel. You feel me? You have a lot of fire within you for sure. And it burns, and it has desire to want to be seen. But what I'm trying to say is, like, that you did all that already, right? We already talked about that, how like your South Node in the 10th house is like you were already a famous celebrity, and you already had all that recognition and attention type energy. And in this lifetime, you need to learn to be more closer to the home, rather than, yeah. But I also don't want to sound like a broken record. You feel me? And I do want to also remind you that we are gonna have a second session. You feel me? Where like I'm gonna open the space for you to ask me any questions, so that I can get more specific for you. So then I know exactly, I can hone in on how I can more help you. You feel me? But yeah, we talked about your North Node. My bad, not your North Node. We talked about your sun being in the 12th house within the sign Gemini. So with your sun being in the 12th house is the house of the unconscious mind, and the sun is like a spotlight. And so with it being the house of the unconscious, with the sun being in the house of the unconscious, it highlights you being very aware of certain things that maybe you're not I can't say you're not supposed to be aware of. But yeah, in a sense, we can say you're not supposed to be aware of, because these are things that are supposed to be unconscious. You feel me? And it's like, a lot of people aren't aware of the things that you're aware of. You feel me? And but furthermore, like with this energy here, it's just, I'm here to remind you that, like, in a sense, you are more of a player when it comes to the unconscious mind than most people. And how I mean by this is most people are conscious, right? They live mostly in the conscious plane, right? Which is like the world around them. But then there's other people that are somewhat more unconscious, meaning they're more aware of more subtle forces, right? They're more aware of like the power of their thoughts and the power of their emotions. And it's like most definitely you need it's a value for you to leverage those things, and that's where growth needs to take place, because you also have Jupiter there. When it comes to expanding your awareness of spirituality and the unseen and the unknown, and also learning how to help and assist others, like these are all things where expansion is possible and where you should focus your expansive abilities in. So, on one end, most definitely developing your mental ability, so your ability to think and logicalize and rationalize, but also simultaneously your ability to, like, the sun also deals with the will, right? And the 12th house is kind of like a house. It's the last house, so it's all encompassing, right? It's kind of like a house of divinity, you feel me? And so this is like a God house, where it's like devoting your life one way or another to like a divine power, or like exalting your willpower from selfish or ego will to divine will is another angle where you can find purpose in, you know what I'm saying. But so let's get into your 10th house, which is in the sign Pisces. So with your 10th house being within the sign Pisces, as we've already talked extensively, the 10th house, right? It's the house of reputation, etc. I don't need to say more because I'm pretty sure you have an idea. Now, when the 10th house is in the sign Pisces, let's talk about what Pisces is. Pisces is a very mystical sign. It's traditionally ruled by Jupiter, but then it's co-ruled. But then it's co-ruled by Neptune. You feel what I'm saying? So Jupiter is a planet that is very benefic, right? It's very selfless. It's very giving. Jupiter also inclines towards professionalism, being a professional. You feel what I'm saying? And Jupiter very much inclined towards knowledge and wisdom, and it deals with having a big heart, you feel what I'm saying, and being very caring and loving and generous. And I also wrote some notes down here, just to, as a reminder of like the careers and things like that associated with Pisces energy, because the 10th house, alongside reputation and alongside where it is that you're here to propel, it also in a sense signifies like career paths, you feel me, which will just give you more idea upon like the things you're here to propel upon. Okay, so Pisces is it's a very selfless sign, and it inclines towards selfless activities, you feel what I'm saying, where it's like, alright, there it is. My bad, I'm like having trouble finding. No, I found it. Okay, cool. So okay, so actually I was not able to find it, so I have to rely upon my mind, my memory. So Pisces is a sign, that deals with being selfless, but also being a healer. You feel what I'm saying? And so, for starters, like you would shine in the field of healing. You feel me? Like with your sun, not your sun, with your MC being in the 10th house, it's an indication that you are here to assist in like the healing of the world. You feel what I'm saying? And so, coincidentally, you being a musician, Pisces very much has an affinity for art in general, music included, because as I'm sure you're aware, like music is very healing, you feel what I'm saying, and one of the ways to heal the population is through sound, right? Through the vocal cords of man or woman, some um, same thing, I guess. In the sense that we are capable of producing certain like notes, pitches, sounds. You feel me? That instruments are incapable of producing. But simultaneously, Libra being ruled over Venus, like the primary correlation between Venus and between Libra and Pisces is Venus. Venus rules the sign Libra, and then Venus is exalted within the sign Pisces. So a little bit about Venus, right? Venus is the planet of beauty. She inclined towards femininity, aesthetics, you feel me, looking beautiful. She also inclined towards the arts, you feel what I'm saying, getting into the arts and being more artistic. And so these are all things that correlate with your North Node because it's in Libra, which is ruled by Venus. But then the energy you should be working towards getting away from is like that Aries, Martian energy, you feel me, which is more like aggressive, more independence, more it's more masculine, you feel what I'm saying? So I guess in another way of putting it is like in this lifetime, you're kind of here to learn to get more into your feminine energies and kind of move away from your masculine energies. Even though the masculine energies may feel more safe because it's what you're familiar with, but it's like if growth is what you're looking for, and if like purpose is what you're looking for, then like truly getting more into like that feminine energy, but also getting more into that home building and everything I already talked about, you feel me, is highly beneficial. Now, the thing with Pisces is a couple of occupations it rules. I mentioned like musicians, right? Artistry. It also deals with doctors, if what I'm saying. Just healers of all kind and all sorts, you feel what I'm saying? And it's not really exclusive to like allotropic medicine, but it can also be embracive to holotropic medicine, right? And so one thing I also would like to bring up is that like with Pisces energy, spirituality is of paramount importance, and the more you can learn to get into your spiritual energy, the more purpose you will feel. If what I'm saying, like the more like you can integrate with connecting with the divine, you feel what I'm saying, and having a divine purpose that you're operating under, like the more. And so I also want to mention this: both Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by the sign Jupiter, but Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it deals with the physical expression of like the connection with God, and that's like holy scriptures and religions and things like that. But then Pisces is more like inner, it's feminine, right? And it deals more so with the feeling, right? Going into like darkness and really connecting with the divine, right? And this can even be interpreted as like really learning to heal, you feel what I'm saying? And through healing yourself, getting closer with the divine. And I don't even know if that's the right way to phrase it, because it may kind of sound, by me phrasing it that way, that like there is something not yet right in order for you to connect with the divine, but that's not the case. Like that connection with the higher power is always there to us instantaneously, you feel me? But anyways, back to what I was saying about Pisces. So Pisces, right, it deals with the unconscious mind. So this indicates that another thing you may benefit from, or that may be purposeful to you, is learning how to like tap into like the unconscious mind. Not like there's the subconscious mind, but then there's the unconscious mind. And when I say the unconscious mind, think about the unconscious mind as like everybody's consciousness, but then the subconscious mind as your consciousness that's below. I hope I'm not confusing you. You feel me? It's like conscious mind, subconscious mind, and then unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind is like the large pool that contains everything, everyone's consciousness. And so, as a Pisces, midheaven, like it is of paramount importance for you to understand that another layer of purpose for you is getting into the collective consciousness. You feel me? And influencing it positively and harmoniously, and Pisces is very much a sign that deals with like spreading peace and love and harmony. You feel what I'm saying? Peace and love and harmony. And yeah. But I think for the most part that would pretty much conclude this reading. And I think I can also just talk a little bit more about Pisces. Also Pisces, and actually before I conclude the reading, I should talk about Jupiter as well. And Venus, I forgot to talk about Venus. Yeah. So Pisces is the last sign. You feel me? Being the last sign is very selfless, very sacrificial, and it kind of is like an energy that's like doing for the greater good. You feel me? Like there's a story about I forget the name of the princess in Andromeda. I think her name, I'm pretty sure it's the Princess Andromeda. So the story goes, Andromeda, was captured. She wasn't captured, but she wasn't captured. She willingly went. So Andromeda's mother, Cassiopeia, was messing with Neptune, the god of the sea. And the way she was messing with him was Cassiopeia was claiming that she was the most beautiful woman of like the land and the sea, and ultimately she was indulging in selfishness. You feel what I'm saying? She was being very, very selfish, and like Neptune widely was known for like having like the most beautiful creatures, which were the mermaids, right? And so Neptune got offended when he heard because man, I'm sorry, my mind is like, I forgot her name, but the queen talking down upon his mermaids. And so he threatened her, and he was like, check yourself, right? Like, be careful what you're saying. But then she grew greater in ego and continuously was like, nope, I'm the prettiest of them all. And so then Neptune ended up sending a sea creature, right? A sea monster. And this sea monster, right, was going to go and destroy like the kingdom. But then Andromeda selflessly sacrificed herself, and she was like, no, don't like spare the kingdom, take me instead, type energy. You feel what I'm saying? And so there's many layers to that, of course. And one of the layers is the dangers of selfishness. You feel what I'm saying? In the sense that like in mythology, anytime we're talking about water and we're talking about sea creatures, right, we're talking about monsters that arise from emotions, right? From like whether that's the repression of emotions or like pride, right? Like, cause she was so prideful and about her beauty, and like that rose in a sea creature that ended up that threatened to destroy the kingdom, but ended up taking away her daughter. And so then Andromeda selflessly gave herself up to save the kingdom. So instead of the sea monster saving the kingdom, she offered herself to the sea monster, and instead she was captured by him, and then Andromeda was stuck in a piece of land, an island, right? And she was just stuck there, like she was in prison. You feel what I'm saying? She was paying the price of selflessness, I guess you can say. But then what had happened was Persephus, I think it is. Persephus, Perseus, or it's either I think it's Perseus. Perseus, right, which is another mythological god, right? He was like the god of war. He's more associated with the Aries energy. Now, Pisces and Aries, mind you, are very close. You feel what I'm saying? And like mythology is very much about the stars and about astrology for sure. And so, this warrior, on his search, for adventure, we will say, right? He came across this sea monster. He ends up slaying it, and then he ends up taking Andromeda, and then they end up living happily ever after. So even though Andromeda suffered, her reward for her selfless actions were like love. You feel what I'm saying? And the thing about love is it's like the most coveted thing, in the sense that like there's really nothing more valuable than love. And but the thing about love also is, in this day and age, we have very confused with so many different things, right? Like people confuse love with sex, people confuse love with codependency, people confuse love with like lust, which are all things that it isn't. You feel what I'm saying? But what it is a elevated emotion that kind of assists you. Well, rather than saying assist, which elevates you to a higher state of bliss. You feel what I'm saying? Of bliss, where it's like the physical, like draws. You may not be familiar with that word. So like the physical, harsh environment conditions seem to be powerless. You feel me? When you're in the presence of love. Like I like to say that in the presence of love, fear doesn't exist. You feel me? It's like in the presence of love, fear, pain, and things like that are non-existent. And so ultimately, I also want to say this, like within the stories, it's like typically like a feminine energy, like Andromeda, you feel me, would signify emotion, because the like it's just a universal, like an esoteric language, right? When you're thinking of symbolism, like females, right, they associate with many things. To one of is emotions. Meanwhile, men, right, associate with like masculine energy. And so, like, in so many ways, right, like Andromeda was the selfless Piscean energy, you feel what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Perseus was like the aggressive, heroic, and daring energy. So he was also selfless, but it's different expressions, you feel what I'm saying? And it's like when you can learn how to be brave and bold in your pursuits of selfless acts, then it's like you unlock love, you feel what I'm saying? Because love is really selfless, if that makes sense. And so, and I'm talking about love because, okay, Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, right? And Neptune is like the modern ruler of Pisces. The traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. And so Neptune being the higher octave of Venus, Venus is like selfish love, you feel me? Like wanting love, but so then you have someone for yourself and things like that. Meanwhile, Neptune is universal agape love, where it's like love for all, and love for humanity. And so with Neptune, well, with Pisces, rather, I should say, within your 10th house, it's an energy of like philanthropism, an energy of like you're here to, in a sense, be selfless and give of yourself to others, you feel what I'm saying, and help others. And yeah, pour from your heart. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, like I'll definitely open up that space for us to discuss, so then we can get much more personal with exactly it is that you want to hear. But yeah, so pretty much. And so now that we have discussed Libra and Pisces, let's talk about Venus and Jupiter. So for starters, you have Jupiter within the sign Gemini in the 12th house. So if you're having Jupiter within the sign Gemini in the 12th house, it's an indication that, like, within this lifetime, you are very much here to incorporate your like analytical ability into, like, whether that's poetry, you feel what I'm saying, which you're already doing with the music, or like um, some form of literature, or like some sort of like things that deal with the Geminian energy, careerly speaking, are like literature, you feel me, just being a writer, being a journalist, you feel what I'm saying. These are all things that very much correlate with the Geminian energy. And so these things for you are very expanded. You're probably very good with the word, right? I mean, being a musician, you have to know how to write, right? So these are all gifts that you should expand upon and bring to the world. You feel what I'm saying? And so Jupiter, I mean, not Jupiter, but like this Pisces, Jupiter and Gemini, not, I'm sorry, I'm kind of, you know how sometimes the Geminis can get like scattered, you feel me? Sorry, I don't know, this bird, like, you feel what I'm saying though? Let me not get distracted though, because I know better, you know. But yeah, so those are all things most definitely worth expanding upon. Knowledge and wisdom and curiosity, these are very curious individuals. Like Jupiter in Gemini natively may play out in a overthinking manner, you feel what I'm saying? But rest assured for sure that, like, Jupiter and Gemini is a wealth of knowledge. These are individuals that know a little bit about a lot of things, maybe, or a lot about a lot of things. You feel what I'm saying? It can play out in both ways. It's kind of like the channel you choose to pursue. Typically, Gemini is the jack of all trades, so there is this energy of knowing a little about a lot of things. But if you hone in and focus, then you can definitely become a scholar in one of those learned, lanes, if that makes sense. Now, Jupiter being in the 12th house, it indicates like some sort of pursuit and professionalism that may deal with spirituality. You feel what I'm saying? And like an example, this can even be like a spiritual coach of some sort, or a spiritual thought leader. You feel what I'm saying? Gemini deals with thoughts. The 12th house is like the house of the spirit world. And then Jupiter deals with like professionalism, in business, and one's earning ability. You feel what I'm saying? So tapping into that energy, expanding your knowledge can definitely benefit you tremendously in regards to like, doing something purposeful and doing something meaningful. But yeah, I think that pretty much is, like the Jupiterian energy. Now Venus. Alright, so you have Venus in the 10th house, right? Venus in the 10th house in the sign of Aries. So with Venus in the 10th house, this is like, in relationships, like you either may be inclined towards attracting celebrities, which you get into dating, or you and of yourself may be like a celebrity. You feel what I'm saying? Like, see, as I've already mentioned, like the 10th house very much deals a lot with the career life, and so Venus deals with the arts and the beauty and things like that. So putting it together, right, this is like Venus, 10th house, Venus being beauty, art, music, 10th house being career. You feel what I'm saying? So there is a direct line between those two of you having some sort of career that deals with art and music. And then with Aries being there, you being very independent, right? So you even in your pursuit being more so like a single artist, like not signed to a label or anything like that, you feel me, but more so solo dolo, wanting to do things yourself. And so to digress and just look at Venus and its energy, her energy, Venus, like I said, rules Libra, which is the opposite sign to Aries. Libra is companionship, partnership, doing things together. Aries is the self, right? Like the hero, and the hero's journey, right? Which is typically very alone and very much filled with pain and filled with having to overcome things, having to overcome loneliness, you know. And so when Aries is in Venus, like it's not a good mix, you feel me? And so when Venus is in Aries, this can make for a person who can be somewhat pushy when it comes to love affairs and love matters. You feel what I'm saying? And so, on a positive note, this does make for a very assertive, like, type of woman who goes after what she wants, where the romantic field is involved. But then there can be this energy of tiringness, because Aries very much is a chase type energy, and so there may be an enjoyment of chasing, where like even unconsciously as a result there may be like this energy of like you chasing a partner, but then it's like in the pursuit of chasing it plays out in two ways where it's like you're chasing but then something is running away. So like, okay, also with Venus and Aries, right, because Aries being a self-centric sign, it's an indication that you may attract to you certain men that may be more so selfish and self-interested and not completely willing to compromise with you. But you may even be a type of person, I mean, your moon in Libra does make you a good compromiser. Like, you're willing to compromise, you'll consider it, you'll feel it, and you'll think about it. But then when it actually comes to it in your friend group and like maybe just like the type of people you may be around, like compromising may not be something you're comfortable doing. But then behind the scenes, right, like when you're comfortable and safe and secure, then you can be a very compromising person. But yeah, with Venus and Aries, like there is a need to learn to balance like this energy of and love interests, and just not even love interests but relationship interests in general, learning to be less concerned about what you want and more concerned about what the partner wants. You feel what I'm saying? And opening up a space where it's like not just you can get what you want, but you also make sure that the partner also has received what they wanted, and kind of not wanting to just be put on a pedestal, but also ensuring that you're allowing the partner also to like enjoy maybe being in the lead or whatever, you feel me? Because another thing with Aries, like their strength is their leaders, right? So you are a natural leader, but when it comes to relationships, like always wanting to be lead can be detrimental, if what I'm saying. And also officiousness, right, which is like being entitled to not being able to see that there are like more ways to get to 10 than one, right, for example, but feeling like your way to get to 10 is the only way, if what I'm saying. And so That may even be something needing to work on and needing to learn to expand upon. And that really just goes back to compromising energy. But like I said, Aries is like the sign of the loner, but then Venus is like the social planet. So here, right, it can make you like um somewhat of a loner who's highly focused on climbing like the corporate ladder, or like the ladder of success, because that's the 10th house. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like you're not here to do that in this lifetime. You're here to do the complete opposite, and in a sense put down status and like esteem from others and fame and things like that, and humble yourself in a sense in a more private life, where it's like about family and about emotions and making connections with others, that type of energy. And so this can even be an indication of like maybe home life, your actual family, like that's just completely broken, and maybe you need to find ways to restore that. And if it's impossible, um it may feel like it's impossible because like, yeah, that's like your where you're what you're here to do. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I can very much relate with this energy because I have my North Node in Cancer. My North Node is in Cancer in the 10th house. So it's kind of opposite to you, right? Like you have Libra in the 4th house, but the 4th house is ruled by Cancer. So with me having, for me, it's really about learning to be more vulnerable and make more emotional connections and more compromising, and putting my needs and desires for like my ambitions aside for the sake of allowing a family connection to bloom. You feel what I'm saying? Which is very important. But for you, it's like the emotions and the feelings are important, but it's more so about learning to even make those, because it's not water like mine, it's air. So for you with the air, it's about even learning how to make those connections, learning how to be social and to make friends and things like that, and building a home with them. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, it's about becoming a better partner, becoming a better friend. Whereas for me, it's about learning to be more vulnerable, learning to be more emotional, and more considerate of that being important, like how I feel inside being important, and a lot of the way that we feel inside is very much tied to the childhood. So family is very much, and of course there's many ways, like I said, to get to 10. So for me, with me having that North Node in Cancer, my pursuit to evolution is through restoring ties with family that I wasn't able to, or that I want to, or that was difficult because of circumstance. And that's for my soul growth. You feel me? But for you, it's about learning to become a better partner, friend, things I've already repetitively said, and simultaneously learning how to build a home with them, learning how to build a more private connection, right? Like, not a surface level connection where it's just about the status and like, the esteem, but more of a deep, meaningful connection. So yeah, that pretty much concludes this reading. I definitely look forward to your thoughts, and I also definitely look forward to talking to you, on the phone. Excited for that as well. I hope that you extracted some knowledge from this. I hope that it was helpful, and yeah, peace. I look forward to talking to you some more. Namaste.